Hey everybody, it's Charles Alvarez. Welcome to the video on how to convert more of your leads into sales. Okay, so here's where this process starts up. Okay, right now this video assumes that you already got a qualified prospect or a lead. Okay, so the question becomes, okay, Charles, what is the fastest way to convert that qualified lead into somebody who is actually buying our product and service? Okay. So what this video is going to cover is exactly how to do that as fast as possible. Okay? Now, here's the sales process, the way that we define it, that we found to work the best in the marketplace. Okay? To us, the sales process has to have three key components. Okay? We'll discuss one of these today because it's so important. If you don't get this first one right, forget the rest of it. Okay? So here are the three components. The first thing is discovery. Okay? We'll talk about that at length in this video. The second is provide recommendations. And then the third one is follow up. Okay, let me repeat those again. Step one is discovery. Step two is recommendations. Step three is follow up. Okay, so what we're going to discuss today in more detail is the discovery process. Okay. And the reason I'm going to talk about this one is because the other two are useless if you don't get the first one right. But here's the thing. The first step is the hardest and easiest to execute. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. Okay? So here's to me what I think of as sales. Okay? Sales has a really bad connotation in the marketplace. I mean, ever since I was about, I don't know, 2 feet high or whatever it was, or whenever I heard the term sales, it's always had a negative connotation. Okay, it wasn't 2 feet, okay, maybe 4.5 feet, okay, for goodness sakes. Anyway, ever since I could remember sales, I always remember being in a kind of a negative connotation, like, you know, slick salesman, used car salesman, and all that kind of stuff. That is not the type of sales that we're going to be talking about here. Instead, what I define as sales being is something very, very simple. Find out what the person wants and then give it to them. Okay? But here's what I find many sales professional, business development people miss out on. Okay? Is they don't take the time necessary to find out what the customer or what the prospect wants. Repeat that again. The main issue that we find with sales professionals across the board is that they do not want to take the time to understand what the prospect or the customer wants. Okay? Because here's the thing. If you don't understand what the customer is looking for or what the need is, how are you going to make a recommendation on how to solve it? Because to me, here's what sales is. Okay, Mr. Prospect, you wanted X, Y, and Z. Here's how our company delivers X, Y, and Z. Sign here. It really is about that simple. Now, whether the sales process is a couple of weeks, a couple of hours, a couple of months, whatever it is, the concept and the principle is exactly the same. Find out where it is that the clients want to be, or where the prospect wants to be, determine recommendations on how to get there, and provide them a plan on how to do it, and say, here's how we deliver that process to your business or to your life to elevate your career, to elevate your life or whatever, and here's how much the investment or the cost is. Okay? So, I'm going to talk today about the most important piece that it all hinges on. In other words, the foundation that the entire sales process sits on for it to work correctly, which is the discovery process. Last time I checked, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. I don't think He did that by mistake. I really don't. Okay, God doesn't do anything by mistake, but I really think that He, was really paying attention to that. Just kidding. Anyway. The biggest issue or the biggest reason why I see sales loss is because the salesperson doesn't take the time to understand what they want. Okay? And here's the thing. The actual principle on determining what that is simple, but it's very difficult to execute because we've been taught most of our lives that we have to just present, and then at some point they will buy. Wrong answer. Doesn't work that way because here's the thing. A huge change has happened over the last 10 years. And a lot of people still don't realize that it's happening. The reason why used car salesmen got a bad rap, or the reason salespeople got a rap, is because here's the deal. Back in the 1970s and 1980s, we didn't have something called the internet. Okay? So even though we were in a competitive arena, people pretty much did business with people they had a relationship with, or people that could articulate why their product was better than others. Okay? In other words, the information available to consumers or to business owners or to whoever your target market is was not as readily available back then as it is today. But my gosh, now if you want to find out anything about anything, just go to google.com, yahoo.com, bing.com, search what you're looking for, and then it just tells you. Okay? So information is much more available today than it was 20, 30 years ago. So we're dealing with a consumer that at least has access to information to make a better decision. Now, I'm not saying that people still don't use the old way. I'm sure people do. What I'm finding is to stay up on the latest best practices, people have information at their fingertips at all times. Now, here's what they don't have. And this one's a big one, okay? People have access to information, but they don't have access to wisdom. Let me say that again. People have access to information. They do not have access to wisdom. Okay? But here's the thing. In order to be wise, you first have to have accurate information. That's why I spend so much time talking to our clients about getting the discovery process correct so they can uncover what the client's major challenges are and that what they want to achieve or what it would look like to them if that challenge were overcome. Okay? So here's the discovery process. A couple principles I want to give you and a couple things to adhere by. Okay? The first thing is to follow the 80-20 rule. Now what does that mean? Okay? The 80-20 rule is a rule that we recommend to our clients use based upon the percentage of time during a meeting time that the client should be talking or the prospect should be talking and the salesperson or the consultant or the whatever you want to call them is, in other words, whoever is trying to get the business should be talking. Now, contrary to popular belief, it's not 80% you talking and 20% the prospect talking. It's exactly the opposite. In other words, if you've got a 60-minute meeting with a prospect, the prospect should be talking for 48 minutes, which is 60 minutes times 80%. That's 48 minutes, which means that you can only talk 12 minutes. And that includes saying hello and goodbye. Okay? Because here's the thing. The more you allow somebody else to talk, the more they feel a connection with you, the more they trust you, the faster you build a rapport with them, because what you're saying is, look, what your words are, what you're saying to me is much more important than any information that I can give you. Because here's the thing, in your first discovery meeting, even if it takes 2 times to discover what they want, how can you make a recommendation on their lives or their business if you don't know exactly what their challenges are or where they want to get to? You can't. You're just not going to. Okay? So the first part of any type of discovery meeting should be to discipline yourself to only be talking 20% of the time. And 90% of those 20%, in other words, if you're talking 20% of the time, 90% of that should be you asking questions. Questions. Because last time I checked, the way you get facts is you ask a question. It's a pretty good invention, actually, now that I think about it. Okay? So 80% of the time they should be talking. 20% of the time, you should be talking. So if you're in an hour meeting, they should be talking 48 minutes, you should be talking 12. Okay? I always put right there on my iPad or my note taker, I always put there, if it's an hour meeting, I always put the time that they should be talking, the time that I should be talking. Okay? If it's a 30-minute meeting, they should be talking for 21 minutes, I should be talking for 9. Does that make sense? All right. So, I'm sorry, they should be talking for 24, I should be talking about 6. I guess I got to go back to the 5th grade or something like that. Anyway, so that's the principle number 1, is to use the 80-20 rule to determine how much they should be talking versus I. Because here's the thing, if we're in an hour meeting and they're talking for 48 minutes and I'm talking for 12, how much information do you think I've now obtained from that particular prospect? Probably a pretty good amount, right? I mean, they're talking for almost 50 minutes. Sounds like I should have enough information to make a reasonable recommendation the next time that I see them or talk to them, right? Okay, so that's principle number 1. Principle number 2, for goodness sakes, please take notes. Please take notes. When you write notes down, and this is irregardless of personality profile, okay, or DISC or whatever, this is irregardless of that. When you're writing stuff down, people feel like, oh my gosh, he really thinks that these words that I'm saying are important enough to write down. But here's my thing. If you're looking to add value to somebody's life, isn't it important to have detailed notes on exactly what it is that they're saying so you can make the right recommendation to enrich their life? Of course, okay? So have something to be able to write on. I don't care if it's an iPad, I don't care if it's a 3-ring binder, I don't care if it's writing on your hand. I really don't care. Just have something to where you can write down the information they're giving you so that when you go back to the office and prepare your list of recommendations or your presentation, that you can now say and relate your solution back to the challenges or back to the place that they want to get to. Okay? So that's principle number 2, is to write stuff down. Okay? Principle number 3 is to have a list of at least 4 questions that you're going to ask them during this, what I call discovery process or interview. Here are my 4 questions, okay? As a business consultant, what we do is we do 3 things, okay? We deliver prosperity and wealth to our customers, to our clients, by generating more leads, closing more sales, having the right team in place so you can enjoy your business. That's what we do, okay? So what we ask them are 4 basic questions. Where are you now? Where do you want to get to? What obstacles lie between where you are now and where you want to get to? And the 4th question is, what is the team that you have to have in place to get there? That's it. Where are you now? Where do you want to get to? What are the challenges you're facing between now and where you want to get to? And what team in place do you have to have in place to make sure that all that happens? That's it. Now, you might be watching this video, you might be in retail, you might be a service contractor, you might be in engineering, whatever. The questions are not that much different. Right? Like, for example, if you're on a air conditioning company, okay, what's broken? What would it look like if it were fixed? What challenges are you having because it's broken? And who's worked on it in the past to make sure that you have the right team in place? Okay? I don't care what the questions are, but I do recommend a couple things. At least 4 questions you're going to ask the prospect. Every time they give you an answer, you should have, at least in your mind, 3 follow-up questions to ask for each one. Like, for example, if they say, well, where do you want to get to? I want to get to $10 million in sales or $20 million in sales. Okay, well, how fast? I don't know, 3 years. Okay, well, why 3 years? How'd you pick 3 years? Okay, so you want to have 4 core questions and 3 follow-up questions to ask them. Okay, those are the 3 principles. Number 1, 80-20, where they're speaking 80%, you're speaking 20%. Number 2, write the answers down. And number 3, have a core set of 4 questions to ask them during the interview and the discovery process so you can make a reasonable recommendation when you come back to them. Okay? The discovery process is absolutely crucial to the entire sales process. More sales are lost not because you didn't have the right solution, it's because you couldn't relate or people couldn't relate their challenges or where we want to get to what the services and the value that your company provides. Don't make that mistake ever again. Okay? To find out more information about this and how to close more sales, go to www.cornerstonebusinessacademy.com. Again, that's cornerstonebusinessacademy.com. And right now, if you click on the top right-hand corner and put your name and email address, we'll give you 10 free videos on how to generate an additional $10,000 in sales over the next 27 days. And it's free. It doesn't cost you a thing. So I highly recommend go to cornerstonebusinessacademy.com, put in your first name and email address and click submit. And you'll start getting the 10 free videos on how to find an extra $10,000 in your business's sock drawer over the next 27 days. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully it was helpful to you. Have a fantastic day.